All right, happy 2023, y'all. We're going to get started with our first chapter presidents and advisors meeting for the new year. Introducing myself, I'm Mary Pelmoit. I'm your assistant state coordinator, and with me today,
Michelle Hegarty. We're together today for the first time in, I don't know, since October.
Rarely happens where we're in the same room, so we're excited to tell y'all a little bit about where we're at today, but we'll keep that surprise for a few more slides. If this is your first chapter presidents and advisors meeting as an incoming leader for your chapter, some general housekeeping that we always go through at the very beginning is to help us with the meeting content by staying muted. When we get to the discussion periods, you can unmute yourself. If you miss something, fear not. We are recording today's meeting. We have a volunteer note taker. Thank you, Sharon. And we'll share the meeting notes and the recording. If not this evening, first thing tomorrow morning. All right, so I'm going to jump right into this. Meeting for January 31st, Chapter Presidents and Advisors Monthly Meeting. Our agenda looks quite lengthy, and we've got quite a bit to talk about today, and so we're going to try and stay cognizant of your time and roll through some of this stuff. If y'all have questions throughout, please feel free to ask those questions in chat. Michelle's going to be watching the chat on her laptop, and we'll make sure to get you all those answers as we can towards the end of the meeting when we've got open discussion time. So welcome to all of our new chapter presidents and advisors. If this is your first year as a chapter president, we're so excited to have you and see y'all blossom into the leadership roles within your chapter. We also appreciate your service and your dedication to your chapter by giving that extra time. And welcome to McAllen with us. I put this in earlier than I anticipated, but Michelle and I are, like we said, actually sitting next to each other, which never happens. But she and I drove into McAllen, Texas this morning to get ready for our October annual meeting. And so we're gonna get a chance to explore the convention center, explore some of the fantastic field sites that we're planning for y'all for October. And so we hope to be able to share some of those places that we're going to go and things that we're going to see as we get closer to October.
But don't get too jealous because it's only 43 degrees here today.
It was 81 2 days ago down
yesterday.
Here. Yeah.
Okay, so one of the things, if you can help us help you, we've asked for the VMS directors, your chapter leadership to be updated in VMS. The only way we have to communicate with you and communicate with the right leaders in your chapter for the new year is through the information we can pull through VMS. So everybody that received a notification on this meeting, is what we pulled from VMS for this year. Did you send it to past presidents?
No.
Okay, so this year we sent to all the presidents that are listed in VMS and advisors, because this meeting is for chapter presidents and advisors, everyone that was listed in VMS for 2023. The next meeting, we just forgot this year or this first meeting to copy your past presidents or last year's presidents for sure, just to help make sure that some of that information gets forwarded if a person's contact information isn't updated yet. But if you could all help us in making sure that your chapter leadership is all updated in the VMS, that will help us pull our email groups, update our lists for all of your directors in the presidents. Reminder that, or for those of you who are new, and actually, if you're kind of new to our monthly meetings, new to your president's role, will you put that in the chat for us? So if you've never been on one of these president's meetings before, or if you've never been the president of your chapter before, let us know. Send your name and chapter in the chat. We try to keep these monthly meetings to 1 hour long. Some months we may have a little bit more to bring to you. Some months you may have more questions that you'd like to ask of each other, and we try to leave a little bit of time to do that. So we try to keep it to 1 hour, the lunch hour, but just know that it may depending on the month, we may have to go a little over. But rest assured, the meetings are recorded. We have notes that are taken, and the recording and the notes in many times our presentation from the meeting are posted on the website the day after or within a reasonable amount of time after the meeting ends. Let's see. Just some kind of housekeeping things. As a chapter leader for your chapter, you're allowed to receive service hours for under the chapter administration item in VMS for your time spent on meetings like these president's meetings.
Great.
And here's the agenda, or not the agenda, the months and date of our meetings. So January through June are status quo with the last Tuesday of the month for our meetings. July and October, we are adjusted a little bit. Actually, July, October, and December, we're adjusted a little bit. July and December, we have a joint meeting of our TMN Tuesday and the chapter presidents together. And so those meetings, July and December, are shifted up to mid-month to accommodate that meeting. And that's something that those dates are dates that anyone can attend. Then we have August and September are normal, and then October also is shifted a little bit because we hold our president's meeting for October at the annual meeting. And as we mentioned, this year it'll be in McAllen. Real quick, top of mind is not, my annual meeting dates are not top of mind.
12th through 15th.
12th through the 15th.
12th through the 15th in October is our annual meeting.
And those dates for October for our annual meeting are shifted up a bit from our normal annual meeting week this year too.
Yeah, it'll be Thursday, October 12th will be our president's meeting.
Okay, so one of the questions that we often get at the new year, kind of closing out the last year and then at the new year, many chapters are having board retreats and then asking some questions of other chapters about what they do and what they include on their board retreat. And then really what we want to hear from you today is, number one, how many of your chapters have completed your board retreat for the new year already? And if your chapter has done that, or if you've talked about some goals for 2023, what's the number one goal that you're most eager to achieve for 2023? We'll give you just a few minutes to add that stuff in the chat. So I see South Texas chapter, Michelle mentioned that they've had a retreat already. Indian Trail has to reschedule. Now they're coming in. I see Bluestem has a goal of getting their operating handbook and guidelines and everything all approved and updated. Great job there. Ermi says their goal is to support our chapter project, which is a school pocket prairie. One of the chapters, things are flipping by here pretty quick. One of the chapters said their goal is to return to in-person training. Great. Improve communication on volunteer projects with the membership. Excellent goal.
I saw one that said strategic planning. That's wonderful to see too.
Hayes County had their strategic session. They're working to establish a second class. Improve outreach from Pineywood Lakes. All right, we'll go ahead and keep adding those to the chat. We're going to move on with our agenda today, but all of this is being captured in the chat and we can share it with everyone after the meeting.
Some other transitions that are happening within our state program, we have a change in our TMN state office. Our current program aide, Annabelle Moore, has accepted a fantastic position with the U.S. Forest Service, and so she'll be transitioning out later this week. But she is the newly elected Big Country chapter president, and so she's on her first chapter president's call today, officially as a chapter president. Although she's joined them in the past to help us facilitate. So congratulations, Annabelle, and we're sorry to see you transition out from the program aide position, but we do have a new student who's going to be joining us, Kelly Mundy. She's not yet on payroll, but she is already running and jumping, and she's worked with Master Naturalists before in some previous positions. So we're excited to get her introduced to y'all and get her on board as our new program aide. So y'all will see some changes in names and email addresses for that contact in the coming weeks. All right, so let's run through, we did a little bit of this in our TMN Tuesday earlier this month, but we want to just kind of give you guys some updates on 2022 and review topics for our chapter leaders. You guys have seen this slide a few times now. This was our program planning slide for 2022. The items and the goals that Michelle and I set for the program for our state office, things that we wanted to accomplish. I'm not going to run through all of these, but there are things on here that you'll see reverberated through 2023 and things that still have to be completed marks or to be finished marks for 2023. And so we'll go through some of those later in today's program.
However, just to run through, so actually, most of this stuff was completed. The things that we are still working on are some of the program branding items at towards the bottom of the page there that you see. Yeah. Okay, so in last fall, we presented the new governing or updated, big updates for the governing documents for the program. And then a plan. Many of your chapters in the fall asked for some guidance and a plan on implementing that by the end of the new year. And we provided that information, suggestions for that. Those who did not go through that process in December or by December are now working through the rest of the process in January. And we were about what? Halfway through. About half of our chapters have completed, entirely completed the process.
On the next slide.
Okay, I'm ahead of myself. Yeah. So governing documents update. A third of our chapters completed both the bylaws and the update of the chapter operating handbook. A third of our chapters have begun the bylaws process. And then there's a third of you that we haven't heard from yet. And I say haven't heard from yet. You may be working on it. And you may have a form that you've pulled off the website. We just haven't had our chapters complete the form on our website to provide the last bit of information. So I think we heard from one chapter over the weekend that kind of was in that case. But if you are a chapter that is working on it, if you're continuing to work on it or implementing it yet this month, or even in February, let us know that. But just want to congratulate and thank everybody for 2/3 of our chapters are kind of through with the process or have a huge chunk of it done already. So thank you again. If you need an extension, if your chapter is one of the chapters that haven't completed the process yet and you need an extension of the January today's deadline, let us know. Our goal is to get everyone adopted, all chapters adopted and utilizing the updated documents by March 1st. Mm-hmm.
I saw that question come in. What if you sent in the bylaws but did not get confirmation? You should have gotten an automatic confirmation email from us that your bylaws were sent in. If you did not, please let me know and I'll make sure that we get you a confirmation that your bylaws have been received. So I'll make sure that we get that sent back out. So as Michelle's checking through some of the chat and some of the questions that y'all have, This is a reminder on the governing documents timeline that we've set into place with these new documents that were released back in the fall of 2022. Our documents are to be reviewed on a regular 3-year cycle, something that got shifted around a little bit with the last couple of years with the pandemic. But we've got a good system in place now with a comments and feedback form that's on that chapter documents page, where our chapters can, throughout any point in the next couple of years, provide those comments, feedback, questions with specific sections of the bylaws or other governing documents notated in that form to be able to give us directed information or directed questions that we can collect over the next couple of years. So 2023 is year 1 of these new governing documents. 24 will be year 2. And then in 2025, we will complete the review of the feedback and edits. We'll compile those. And then in the fall of 2025, we'll send those back out. Those completed updates made, we'll send out those governing documents and release them for official status in 2026 as the first year of the new documents, completing that 3-year cycle. And throughout the whole way, we'll send reminders for that comments and feedback section on the website to chapter leaders going each year.
And if you're new to this process, one of the innovations that we had over the course of the past couple of years was adding this form for feedback. So it makes it a great place to capture all that. And we just have to ask that you send your comments and updates, suggestions through that form, not directly to us. So the form in that place is where we'll be pulling everything to review for the next review.
And I saw Emily's question come in about getting a summary of the changes made. We did make a presentation on that. We weren't able to redline the document because we moved things, and so
it would have been all redlined.
We moved things. We made style changes. We made annotation changes, word changes to keep a common vocabulary across all 3 documents, something that we hadn't gotten a chance to do before. And so with the help of our volunteers that stepped forward to do that for us, they put that together for us. So the September chapter president's meeting, which is recorded and on the website, and the July one has all of the text excerpts with those changes that are made. Beyond those big substantial changes that are made beyond the individual words or comma placements or formatting changes. If you can't find that, let us know, and I will see if I can find that for you on the website. It is on the website.
It's about an hour-long presentation, so that we focused entirely on the update of the documents.
Yep. Great. Okay, I'm going to keep going, and Michelle's going to keep checking the chat for me. So again, the timeline for that that 3-year timeline for the governing documents includes the chapter bylaws, the chapter management and operating procedures, and the chapter operating handbook, as well as the standards of conduct and the code of ethics. One of the other documents that is in this cycle, but kind of off to the side, so to speak, is and hasn't. We're working on this year as a 1-year cycle is our marketing and brand ID guidelines. That is on the website, and I can show you where it is on the website.
And while she's navigating to that, everybody who's asked for the extension in the chat, consider that granted as of now.
So on our website, if you start off on the homepage of our website, I'm making sure that it's showing. If you go to chapter documents, that's where all of our governing documents are, and you can use the catalog there to find those. The brand and marketing ID guide, this has not been updated since 2020, and so that is on our list to get updated and into cycle this year. We hoped to get it done last year, and it just fell off, so we're putting that on the front end of the system to try and get that one updated in the early parts of this calendar year. All right, so now we're going to talk 2023 planning and dates. We've got a bunch of program dates that we're going to share with you. Again, if you don't capture these in in real time, this recording and the slides will be on our website this evening, if not tomorrow morning. Our 2023 training hours policy. So this was a question that we've gotten quite a few times from some of our chapter leaders as they've entered into the second or the third year of their leadership. We are no longer using the temporary training policies that were developed during COVID. In 2020 and 21 and even into 22, we had a temporary training policy that provided some exceptions to how basic and advanced training hours were able to be obtained. We don't have a temporary training policy because we are moving into these updated CMOP guidelines that have some of those considerations from COVID, from the pandemic timeline incorporated into the CMOP. So this was done with the anticipation for chapters to return to in-person training for both basic and advanced training. I've got the specific sections right there from the CMOP, 4.1 for basic and 5.5 for advanced training. And this is the sentence that for me really captures the encouragement that we have for chapters when thinking about logging their basic and advanced training hours for their members via web-based webinars and things like that. So members are encouraged to obtain the bulk of their AT hours in live classroom settings or in live online trainings that include an opportunity for communication with the instructor. Previous years, we've had a cap, a limit, a fraction of the AT hours that needed to be online versus in person. We've done away with that. Your members can obtain their advanced training hours through web-based programs, online trainings, but we are encouraging them to be done in online trainings that have a opportunity for communication with the instructor. Having that chance to ask questions, having that chance to verify learning really helps to make sure that material is understandable and that person is able to walk away from that training feeling confident with the information that they've obtained. Okay. For TMN Tuesdays in past, those TMN Tuesdays in our annual meetings have had specific exceptions drawn into the temporary training policy. For 2023, we're allowing AT hours watched both live or as recordings because those training opportunities do have those online interactions. Our instructors provide opportunity for chat or for follow-up questions. You're going to log your hours based on the calendar year in which the event happened live. So if your chapter member, for example, watches a 2023 TMN Tuesday, like the one that just happened a few weeks ago, they can count that watched live or as a recording during the calendar year of 2023. If they watched a live or recording of 2022 TMN Tuesdays, that can only count for 2022 AT hours. So they're calendar year based hours, live or as recordings. So if you watch January's TMN Tuesday from this year, if you watch it next month as a recording, it counts as 2023 calendar year AT hours. Make it all that right? Okay.
Yeah, and the time starts ticking now. So December, once we get to December's TMN Tuesday, there's not much time to get that watched if you missed it.
Yeah. So our 2022 annual meeting, this is one policy that is getting updated, and we're kind of in a timeline with this one. So we allowed AT hours for recordings up to 90 days post-event. That was in our temporary training policy that was presented in previous chapter presidents meetings. And you'll log your hours based on the date and the year in which the recordings watched. So if you were a registered attendee for the 2022 annual meeting when we were in Houston, you watched that recording, you can count that for 90 days post-event, post-October 24th, and you count that the day that you watch it. And that 90 days ended last week, January 23rd. And we did make that note, we did make that announcement a number of times throughout, so please let your members know. We will be changing this for the 2023 annual meeting, just because the 90 days and it rolling over calendar years made it very confusing. So 2023 annual meeting, you will be able to watch, your members will be able to watch the recordings of any presentations done through the end of the calendar year for those AT hours. So 2023 annual meeting recordings will can be watched as recordings through the end of the calendar year 2023, December 31st. It's a mouthful. I hope it makes sense. We will get a snippet of this sent to y'all as well so that you have this if your members have questions. Anything else? Did I miss anything? Okay. All right, this is
Okay, so in October, it's typical at our annual meeting that we announce our annual recertification pin as a big surprise announcement on the last day of the meeting. We did that in October and when we were in Houston, and the 2023 annual recertification pin for our 25th anniversary is the Texas Ecoregions pin. And we have a few exciting things going on this month revolving around this pin. Go to the next slide. Before we go, so I won't read this entire slide to you because we covered it in our State of the TMN program, TMN Tuesday, earlier this month. It just gives a little bit of background as to why this ecoregion pin was selected for our 2023 recertification pin. Go to the next slide. When we talk about pins, one of the things that comes to mind is chapters will obviously begin ordering pins soon. The recertification pin for this year will not be sent out, will not begin being sent out until mid-February. But you can still be ordering your pins and recertification pins and your milestone pins online. We have all that entire process has been moved online now. We have a form. Some of you who have served in the role of ordering pins or membership coordinator in the past, you may remember sending emails to specific people to order your pins, but all of the ordering for pins is now done online, right on our website, and I'll drop that link in the chat here in a minute. But if you just go to the link there, which I'll drop in the chat, it is on our website, just under chapter info, and order the pins that you need monthly. We pull the orders that come in on the website at the end of the month, and then they're sent out shortly thereafter. So we collect the information for the month, pull it at the end of the month, and then process the orders to be sent to chapters after the end of the month. We do this monthly, so please, as chapters, and please pass this information along to the people who order the pins for your chapters. If your chapter orders 125 of the recertification, 2023 recertification pins on February 15th, not all those will be sent. Please order only what you need. And the reason being is in the past, we have had chapters do that. We spend the time and the money to send them out, and then the next thing you know, we're out of pins. And then we have to spend time and money to ask your chapters to send back the pins that you haven't used. So please be efficient with your ordering and order only what you need. And again, all of this is sent out monthly. All of this is collected and then mailed out monthly, all the orders. Let's see, the exception to this is we will send notes in September, and instead of mailing things to your chapters for the past couple months or the month of October, we will bring those to the annual meeting. So we'll bring your orders to the annual meeting, and then that's really the only time that we'll ask you to allow you to kind of order ahead for the year. So October, end of September, early October is your opportunity to kind of order your pins for the remainder of the year, because chapters are having kind of their end of the year celebrations, volunteer recognition events in November and December, some even in October. But we try to save on the shipping costs that to our program by hand delivering those to your chapters at the annual meeting. So either to you as the president during the president's meeting or a designee that you set up. And then just a side note on the 4,000 hours, those are again collected through the same form. They're mailed once a month, but the 4,000 hour award, keep in mind that you can only order the award once your member has actually reached that 4,000 hours, because I have to verify that that's been done when I request the award from the White House. And then once I do request the award from the White House, it takes about 6 weeks for that to arrive to my office. Then I need to package it up and send it back out to your chapter. So there is a little bit longer processing time, ordering and processing time on the 4,000 hour awards. So, and then I'll drop that link in the chat.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to cover TMN Tuesdays for 2023. As y'all hopefully joined our January 10th one, our State of the TMN program. We have an exciting TMN Tuesday for February lined up. We just got the final verification from the speaker earlier this week, and we'll be sending that out. Maybe even while we're here in McAllen, Michelle and I will get that sent out to y'all. So I don't want to give it away yet, but it's going to be an awesome one. So our TMN Tuesdays are the second Tuesday of each month at noon. Did it already go out? Yeah. Oh, well, I missed my email this morning. That's great.
I think Annabelle got it out.
Okay. See, I was driving this morning. I wasn't checking emails. So our TMN Tuesday, second Tuesday of the month at 12 noon Central, will be recorded as always, and our speakers and our topics will be announced monthly. And we do that on purpose. We do allow for some flexibility in our TMN Tuesday schedule to be able to address hot topics, conservation issues of the season. So that's why we only send those topics out shortly close to the meeting or to the presentation. Some FAQs on our TMN Tuesdays, some questions that we've had in the past. Are 2022 TMN Tuesdays available for 2023 hours? No. Only the calendar year the TMN Tuesdays happen can be counted for advanced training when watched. But you can watch them for your own education and enjoyment at any point, of course. Do I have to be a master naturalist to attend? Absolutely not. These are open to the public. Please encourage the public to attend. It might be a great way to recruit new members and new master naturalists for your chapter as well. All attendees, however, master naturalists or not, must register via the WebEx registration link. Are they recorded? Yes, they will be recorded and shared to the website within that evening or following day. And then do I need to register? Yes. Something new that we've done for our TMN Tuesdays for 2023 is you can actually register for the whole calendar year series on one page. So if you go to our TMN Tuesday website, you'll see a register for all events now, and that will give you a page that gives you the opportunity to register for January through December's TMN Tuesdays and get those added to your calendar. And then how long after I watch a TMN Tuesday video can I log my AT hours? And in order to stay within the 45 days, you'll need to log your hours 45 days within watching the video. Again, these FAQs are on our website. They're on the TMN Tuesday page on the very bottom under the FAQ section. We always do ask this question as we do keep the TMN Tuesdays topics flexible in order to address seasonal needs, but also chapter needs. If there are specific topics that you want to hear addressed, if you have specific speakers that you've had as chapter meeting speakers that you think would be fantastic to hear on a statewide level, have a statewide message, please send those to us, drop them in the chat or send them in an email to Michelle and myself. We'd love to be able to add some new presentations into our TMN Tuesday lineup. We also want to be able to provide some advanced training on topics that you may not have as easy of a time finding speakers for. So diversifying the pool of training that our master naturalists have available to them.
And then keep in mind those, what we call the crossover events too, in July and December, where these are not only chapter presidents and advisors meetings, but also TMN Tuesdays. So think of either presentations or topics that could bridge those two events for those months. We'd love to hear your feedback on what you want to see for those 2 months also.
Yep. Again, you can either drop those in the chat or send Michelle and I an email with those.
So a reminder about Be the Change. Our last year we had a big series. Was it last year or the year before?
It's
Our
2021.
All the years are running together now. So 2021 we did a big series on Be the Change, and this was our diversity, equity, and inclusion series where we had a series of a few months strung together, a special topic on Be the Change. And all of the sessions were revolving around diversity, increasing diversity, equity, and inclusion and accessibility within our membership and our chapters. And so all of those recordings are still available on our website and our YouTube channel. And then the series culminated in a Be the Change workshop last spring, 2022. And this was about a day-long event where our chapter leaders were invited to attend, and the whole event revolved around developing kind of a strategic goals towards increasing diversity, equity, and inclusion and accessibility within your chapters. And so I just wanted to remind you that the recording is still there from the event, and then also the resources that were pulled together for the event and these kind of strategic goals and actions are all there and live on our website for our chapters to continue to contribute to and utilize. So that you have the YouTube link there on the screen, and I'll try and put more of the other links in the chat while we continue on.
Great. Some more program announcements as we go through for 2023. We are celebrating our 25th anniversary this year. We're very excited to kick off our 25th anniversary storytelling project. Very similar to our 2018 20th anniversary oral history project. This storytelling project is a way for us to hear from you about your favorite master naturalist memory, your in the field happenings, an interesting occurrence, a meaningful project, a community outreach event, or something that made an impact on you as a master naturalist. We've sent this out once, and we'll be sending this out more, especially as Kelly joins our team as our program aide. This will be something that she'll really help to promote for our program. And so please help us to encourage your members to share their stories through our 25th anniversary storytelling portal. And that link is on our website, and in the, Michelle, maybe you can drop that in the chat for us as well. And we'll be sending it out via email and listserv at least another couple of dozen times.
Weekly.
2023 is also a big celebration year for many of our chapters, and we would be remiss if we didn't give them a quick shout out for celebrations this year. We have 2 chapters celebrating their 15th anniversary, 4 celebrating their 20th, and then 3 celebrating their 25th anniversary alongside our state program. So I'm very excited to have big parties all across the state, and then we'll all get together in October and celebrate at our annual meeting and celebrate all of our anniversaries together. Speaking of celebrating, my favorite time of year is the new training class season, and we have 21 chapters that have let us know that they have spring training classes that have started or are kicking off here shortly. And you can see these are highlighted on the map, and I love seeing all of the chapters littered with stars all across the state. And I love seeing the pictures from our chapters as their new trainees get started on their journey into their master naturalist career. So please continue to share the feedback, share the pictures, share the excitement of your new trainees as they join the master naturalist program and the Master Naturalist family. Excited to see those.
And hold on, if your chapter, if you can go back to the other side.
Yep.
If your chapter is having a training and it's not represented here for spring, go ahead and still drop that information in at that link there. And then also at that link, we're beginning to collect the fall training information now too. So if you know it, there, what a segue. If you know it, go ahead and add it.
All right, so as we're kicking off our spring season, one of the things that we reminded our chapter presidents last year, and we wanted to put it on your radar again this year, is that the month of April is going to be a very busy month if you haven't noticed that on your calendar yet. April is our National Volunteer Recognition Month. We are beginning to build some templates and some social media, newsletter, email templates that we'll be able to share with you as chapters to pronounce the National Volunteer Month. And so those tools will be in your email inboxes in hopefully early March, if not mid-March. Saturday, April 22nd is Earth Day. The official National Volunteer Week itself is April 16th through the 22nd. It very conveniently ends with Earth Day for us. And then City Nature Challenge kicks off the following weekend. So April is going to be a very busy Master Naturalist month, and hopefully we have some gorgeous weather to accommodate getting outside and getting our hands in dirt as well. So share your plans as you're getting ready for April. I know that we've got lots of great plans in the state office to get you the resources to recognize your volunteers. Speaking of volunteers, cut in if you want to take over here. But our virtual volunteer fair is coming as y'all have requested. We are hosting a virtual volunteer fair once again this year. We had one last year and we had two the year before, and this seems to be a great way to get some of your volunteers engaged with virtual or distance-based projects where they may have an opportunity to volunteer with a partner that has a specific need that can be done behind the computer screen or individually. So our virtual volunteer fair this year will be May 2nd and May 3rd. We have not yet sent out the formal announcement by email yet, so y'all are seeing these dates first. When we do send out that formal proposal request, our ask of you as chapter leaders, chapter advisors, is to send that out to your partner projects, those that might have projects that have a statewide focus and a need for volunteers. And then the second ask that we have is that you save the date and encourage your members to attend our virtual volunteer fair.
And just a reminder that though this project was started during the pandemic, the virtual volunteer fair efforts were started during the pandemic to collect virtual and distance-based service projects. It's backed by popular demand by you and your members, because you said you wanted these types of projects to work on during the hottest months of the year. So that's our intent behind continuing the virtual volunteer fair and continuing kind of those virtual and mostly virtual projects, so that people can still have something to earn service hours with, even from the comfort of their air-conditioned home.
And I saw Donna's question about inviting specific partners. That's what we're asking y'all to do, is when we do send out that call for proposals, please send that to folks that you currently volunteer with or that you've connected with through previous virtual volunteer fairs. Help us to encourage them to share their projects again with the Master Naturalists.
And then there's a question about whether the virtual volunteer fair counts as advanced training or volunteer time.
Watching the presentations on May 2nd and 3rd counts as service. Yes.
So we had
and we'll put those
searching for your volunteer project. That counts as like searching for your project to contribute to is volunteer time.
And we'll have all of those notes and FAQs on the VVF virtual volunteer fair page once it goes live. But that's a great question, and we'll make sure that that's addressed on that page. All right, some more dates to round out your calendar. Our Master Naturalist annual meeting this year is going to be in McAllen, Texas, where we are right now. There's a little bit of a sneak preview behind us. But it will be October 12th through the 15th. And Michelle and I could not be more excited about the location this year. So that's why we drove down here in the cold rain this morning to get a chance to explore everything and get it ready for y'all for this fall. So please make sure that you've got those dates saved on your calendar and plan to join us in McAllen.
Yeah, we're being true winter Texans this week.
All right, some more chapter resources that we wanted to make sure that you had as chapter leaders if you're not familiar with these. And I may roll through some of these fairly quickly, Michelle. She's going to drop some links in the chat. But our state website is our kitchen sink. That has everything on it. If you have a question, I can almost 95% guarantee you that it is answered on our state website first. So please check there for questions that you may have about programs, policies, or resources. We also have an events calendar. It has not been updated yet this year, so we are working to get that updated. Once Kelly joins the team, that will be one of the first things that she does, is to make sure that we have that events calendar updated for us. We also have our regional WebEx accounts still available for our folks. Do you want to talk about these?
Yep. So regional WebEx accounts, if you're not familiar with the regional WebEx accounts, or if your chapter is not using these because you've chosen to use something else, that's fine. We still have these available. We're making these available for another year. Where our chapters, you can see, are kind of grouped by regions on the use of their account. And I will say that Region 1 and Region 2 don't get much use. So if your chapter in that area that is looking for a virtual meeting option and you don't have one that you've been using already, these are available. Just a reminder on these regional WebEx accounts is that we do have to keep the recordings saved on there to a minimum. So I go in by the 5th of every month and delete everything that is older than a month or older than 30 days. And so the rule of thumb is, if you are using them and you want to keep the recordings, download that recording as soon as it's available. And those typically are available within
a few hours.
Maybe 15 minutes, depending on the type, how long your meeting is, but it could be an hour or two later when you have longer meetings. But try to get if you want your recordings saved, save them to your own chapter's desktop or drive as soon as possible, because I do have to go in and delete old recordings every month. Otherwise, our entire account, all of these regional accounts are connected to one account, and our entire account has a top end limit to how much can be held kind of on that cloud. So we just try to keep that cleaned up. So, because one thing that happens if there's too much, you are not able to record and you're not able to hold your meeting. So just a reminder there.
One of the questions I saw come in the chat is if they can use this for board meetings and or chapter meetings.
Both.
And committee meetings too. I've seen some chapters use these for committee meetings as well.
And just a reminder, if you do need the login, like if you're kind of new to this process and new to the leadership in your chapter and you don't have the login for your region, let us know. We can send that out. And then number one rule, the number 1 and 2 rules when you log in, don't change any of the information that's kind of on the profile or the login information. And then number 2 is always check the calendar before setting up a new meeting. So you don't want to put one meeting over top of another chapter's meeting that's already set on the calendar, because somebody will get bumped. So. So some more resources that are available for our chapters. Again, our WordPress website trainings, these are coming back. AgriLife's Daniel Singletary will be hosting these again in 2023. We have not sent this information out by email yet, so this is the first time that y'all are seeing this, but these will be the first Tuesday of each month from 12 to 12:45. And his first that he has availability is going to be March 7th.
So I just got that confirmation from Daniel last week, and as soon as I have his Google Meets link, which is what he's going to be using, we will send that out to all of our webmasters and probably also our chapter presidents, so y'all have that resource available if you want to. If you have somebody who has questions about the WordPress site, there are video tutorials on our website. There's also video tutorials on the WordPress backend under the video tutorial section on the left-hand ribbon. You can also YouTube it. That's how I've learned most of WordPress, is going to the Googles and going to YouTube and watching tutorials on how to fix the website. So again, those will be coming within the next couple of weeks, that email, and March 7th is our first one. Meeting owls, we still have meeting owls available. If you're asking what is a meeting owl, it is a virtual camera. I actually have one in my car. I could have brought it in to show for show and tell today. But it is a 360 camera and microphone that you can use to put in the middle of your room to help record hybrid chapter meetings or training events. And so if you're interested in borrowing a meeting owl, we loan them out on half-year cycles. You can use the form on the Meeting Owl Loaner program page. And there's some answers for some FAQs on that page as well.
So Beverly, I see your comment about the WebEx account. I'm not going to give the login information on a recorded meeting, so I'll follow up with you after that.
Some more resources as we close in on the 1 o'clock hour. We have our TMN merchandise. And I wanted to make clear the two different categories in which our TMN merchandise fall into. And so you can see I've got my Master Naturalist shirt on today. There are both state offered items and local chapter produced items. Starting with our local chapter produced items, if you as a chapter are wanting to put the Master Naturalist logo on a shirt or on some sort of merchandise item, you have to follow our program brand guidelines for logo use. Our Master Naturalist logo is trademarked, is state trademarked, and so you have to ask for permission to use that logo from our state office, and it has to be in a recorded email so that we can give you that approval for production. If you have questions, our brand guideline is on our website. You can find that. We've shared the link earlier, but that's the process right now for local chapter produced items. We also have state offered items that have our official Master Naturalist logo, color scheme, text title, all of that information. Those are approved with our logo, trademark, design, and program colors as mentioned. And we offer our state offered items in both bulk discounts and online ordering. And I'll show you the different categories under our state program. So starting on the right-hand side again, for our state merchandise, we have two types of ordering systems for our Master Naturalist gear. We have both our AgriLife Learn website, which is merchandise that's currently stocked in our warehouse, ready for shipment right now. There are limited quantities and sizes in that store, but it does ship right away. I will actually be doing an AgriLife Learn restock in the next month or so, so there will be some new items, and I'll let you all know when those items arrive in that store. The second type of state merchandise store is our drop ship member item. I've also called it pop-up store, and that's when we have a pop-up store website with limited purchase time. So it'll be open for 1 to 2 weeks. We'll have a variety of sizes and colors and styles. We had the jackets last year and different t-shirts last year. You get what you want as far as sizes and colors, but they don't ship right away. So this is the back and forth on these two different types. Once those 2 weeks of that store being open closes, then they will go into production and then they will ship. So it might be another month until you get those items, but you will get exactly the color and the size that you want. So those are the two types of state offered merchandise. The other question, going back over to the left-hand column here, the other state merchandise item is our curriculum, and that is also found on our website, the link for how to buy our Master Naturalist curriculum book. You can either get that in new class bulk ordering with a 50% discount if you order 10 or more books, You can also pick those up at the annual meeting each year. Many of our chapters have figured out that if you want to save I think it's like $6 a book on shipping, which can add up very quickly. You can pick those up for free at the annual meeting, and we usually send that out in about September or so that opportunity is available. Did I miss anything? Got it. The little pop-up there. I will be restocking the AgriLife Learn store in February. That's on my to-do list for first thing next week.
Oh, there's a question in the chat asking if it's okay. Are they able to pick up
Yes.
textbooks locally?
Yes, so if you're close to College Station, or if you have an opportunity to drive through College Station for our curriculum, the A&M Press office does offer pickups. And so you can drive up to their warehouse storefront and pick up those books directly from them. Best way to do that is to email or call them. I am not the in-between for that. That's a direct order from them that you'll have to work with them to work on. So I've put this in here 3 times now, but it is on my to-do list for early next week is to get an AgriLife Learn restock going for new shirts and new hats and new jackets and things in the AgriLife Learn store. As soon as those are in, I'll let you know.
Other ladies' styles too.
And those jackets, my jacket's sitting over there, but those jackets were real popular in October. We'll get those. I know it's almost summer, but we'll get those in too.
Doesn't seem like it today.
No. Last but not least on the TMN logo and merchandise is our license plate. If you don't have a Master Naturalist license plate, you can get one now from our TxDOT. You can get the DMV. You can find that link on our website. Michelle's going to drop it in the chat as well. And the Master Naturalist program does get $22 off of every plate that is sold back into our program. And we are nearing the 800 plate marks. And so we're excited to cross that threshold. The point of 800 is that once we cross selling 800 license plates, we get the original deposit back to our program. So that's an exciting turning point for the license plate program. And we're always game to show off somebody's customized bumper or Master Naturalist license plate with any of our presentations. One more slide here about some statewide programs and resources. Our Master Naturalist Endowment, which was started in 2016, is a way for us to build a perpetual funding opportunity for Master Naturalist programs, grants, and things to be named yet. So our endowment does sit close to that $100,000 mark and does have an opportunity for folks to give individually, for your chapter to give gifts to. There are employer gift matching and volunteer gift matching with your employers. And then if you're interested in looking into the Master Naturalist endowment as you're going through estate planning, you can also reach out to our development director and ask questions for that. Our website is up, masternaturalistendowment.org. We also have that direct link on our website as well. Okay, a few more tips and tricks, and Michelle, I'm just going to keep rolling into these while you're answering questions. In our President's Corner, this is an opportunity for us as we're closing in on that 1 o'clock mark to ask and answer questions, some questions that we have been asked before today's meeting. And what we want to address here is please, as chapter presidents, please keep in mind in our CMOP update that it asks you not to sign contracts of over $5,000 without review and approval from the TMN state office. That allows us to review and make sure that your chapter is entering into an agreement, a grant, a contract with a full approval process. And then let us know about any grants or awards that you win, regardless of the amounts. We want to hear about all of them so that we can promote and celebrate with you in your successes as a chapter. All right, and I think that's the last question that I had a previous answer to before we get into open discussion time. This is our calendar check, and then that was the last slide. With that, Michelle, are there questions in the chat that we can answer in the last couple of minutes?
There is one question from Terry. Is it possible to get information on the liability insurance coverage that all members have And you want to talk about the one pager?
Yeah, so I'll actually show her. This is one of the resources that is on our website. We have an insurance one pager that is on our chapter documents page. Don't let me go too fast down here. You can go directly to it in this table of contents here. And it's this Insurance and Liability Protection 101 document right here that talks about the types of liability and coverage that our two agencies have for our program, and directs you with more information there. Okay, what else do we have? Cool. We've got our first 2023 chapter presidents meeting and advisors meeting of the year done right on time. I can see 1 o'clock on your computer. We will open it up to questions and hang out for a few more minutes. If y'all don't have any questions, y'all are free to go. And thank you so much for being a leader for your chapter, for being a leader for our program, and for helping the Master Naturalist program go into its 25th year successfully. So thank you.
Mary Pearl,
Yes, ma'am.
this is Sherry Wilcox. I was wondering if any